How to decode grimoires using astrology. So this is just going to be a short video, but a lot of people get books and they seem encoded most of the time because they are, and there's a reason for that. But uh, a lot of it has to do with the nakshatra of Satabisha, the veiling star. So it likes to veil things, and it's ruled by Rahu and Saturn. So if you're familiar with basic astrology, Rahu and Ketu are the dragon's head and the dragon's tail. When it's conjoined, you get Ouroboros. Here, not only is it a dragon, but it's an 11-pointed star. The 11th sign of the zodiac is Aquarius. Again, Satabisha. 218. So when you add these up, 8, 9, 10, 11, there you go. So anyways, I'm not going to get into many details. This is just kind of like a quick introduction or concept. But so according to this, hold on, where's the passage on Nathan of Gaza? Okay, here it is. So while the prophet Nathan of Gaza never sided with the dragons of the other side and instead strived for a union between the two sides of divinity by the assimilation of the klipoth into the thoughtful light, our own approach is dedicated to an opposite cause. The goal of returning all back to Ain via the route of the thoughtless black light of the Sitra Akhra. So this thoughtless black light is K2. K2 is associated with nothingness, thoughtlessness. It's headless. It's the body of the dragon. Black is also a color that's often associated with K2. Not just that, but it gets pretty complicated. But anyways, as I was saying, so the students partaking of this, our book of Sitra Akhra, being the first grimoire of the dragons of the other side, should therefore take care not to confuse familiar forms also employed by outsiders with more alien essences that they within this context serve to bridge over to and channel spirit from, as if the terminology here utilized seems familiar and derived from older known sources. They are urged to seek the tradition-specific essences they serve to embody in accordance with our chaosophic anti-cosmic context, ethos, and the spiritual current of 218, that all the names, forms, and symbols employed herein are possessed by and serve as points of ingress and congress to. So this is going to go over a lot of people's heads. There's much clues throughout it, like Vedar calls Somdas Aserate. Veda is knowledge. It comes from Vidya. But the main concept here is when you approach this from a face value or surface value, it's going to have very different vibes than if you were to be familiar with the concepts of astrology. So Rahu leads to K2 and K2 leads to Rahu, if that makes sense. Our point of incarnation is Rahu, and the way we exit this incarnation is K2. So some branches are going to focus on what's called moksha. Moksha is a type of liberation. I'm not going to go deep into it or explain it a lot. I'm just kind of giving gateways for you to cross through, because ultimately most of you should know this is very basic, available information everywhere. But when you approach, oh, by the way, this is a yantra, so people think that these sigils right here are something you can kind of employ in daily life, but you have to be super careful with this. These are actually portals. So the circle is also associated with Satabishak. So studying that nakshatra will yield lots of info. The upward pointing triangle is masculine energy. So these are basically conductors. If you're familiar with electricity, you would know that conductors and things like that are a way to not just manipulate energy and create, energy, but my computer's a little slow, sorry. You can basically refine these. And Satabisha is not only associated with electricity and also the height and refinement of Rahu, but one overlooked aspect is in our bodies, we emit bioelectricity. And when you meditate on certain images such as this, which, by the way, is why a lot of people try and keep this secret, it starts to activate certain currents within your own body that can actually be very harmful to you. So you got to be kind of careful with this stuff. If you don't know what you're doing, just, I don't know if you should really be diving deep into this. This is more for uh, astrologers and occultists that want to elevate their game a little more. So here's another cool insight. You see that? That's Enki sigil. Enki is also associated with Aquarius. As you can see here, this is a Trishul of Shiva. Okay? So Shiva is very friendly to Rahu. Shiva is also associated with Saturn. So when you think of Falcifer, Falcifer is Saturn. In a deeper aspect, this is a lot of the magic that is given by the Yamadutas, the messengers of Yama. Yama's, Lord of Death. Again, here's another upward triangle. This is a yantra. It's got Shiva's Trishul. This is ascending Kundalini energy upwards. If you do this too fast, you could get seizures, you could go crazy, you can really harm yourself. But, it's a big goal of a lot of people that seek not just like enlightenment, I guess, but a way to kind of make sense of why it is some of us are so very Faustian. Faust being, the guy that wanted to know everything so bad that he sold his soul to Satan just to know everything. And again, I won't get into that. That's up to you. Here's some crescent moons. These were derived using gravitational lenses. These are schematics. So, the implication here is pretty deep. There's much too much to cover. I'm not going to cover everything up. Just kind of trying to give people a leg up into the world. It's up to you to do the work. If you want an astrological reading that will help you not only connect to these things, but utilize them and understand why it is that you have found such secrets, then go ahead and hit me up. You could leave your comment or whatever. We'll figure it out. But yeah, anyways, I don't want to say too much. There's certain rules to this type of stuff about, tantras and yantras, and not all of it is supposed to be revealed. But I hope this stimulated your appetite a little bit. So that's all.